Good morning everyone. I am Dr.Swarupa Mitra from Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute and Research Center and on behalf of Healthyho. Today my topic about life discussion will be depression in teenagers, that is teen depression. Have you ever wondered looking at your child who is sulking, who is irritable, who is angry, who is a rebel, that he could suffer from depression? No, it does not enter our mind. But childhood depression, or rather adolescent depression or teen depression as we call it, is quite common. Again, looking at statistics, about 1 in 8 children, 8 kids are suffering from teenage depression. So it is not uncommon. But why does it happen? Now we need to understand what is teen. Teen is a very, very crucial, very vulnerable time. It is the time when a child, a kid, grows up and it's just started growing up. He leaves the childhood and just entering the threshold of adulthood. So it is that transitional vulnerable period. His hormones are playing havoc in his body and he has different things to understand. He is absolutely open to a new world where he needs to understand many things. Many things are unexplored by him. So he is in confusion and he is yet to balance whether he is a child or he is an adult. So this is the time when he needs to be handled with care, he needs to be understood well. Now this depression is, as I said, is about 1 in 8 child. It is that common. Now we need to understand why does this happen. Yes, it is the age. That is definitely there. That is undeniable fact. It is the age when the hormones are taking over, and this is the age because of the hormones and many other factors, as we have said. The child has or the teen, he has a swing of moods. At one time you may find him very happy, very joyous, trying to take interest in everything, and just at the other moment he is a rebel, he's sulking, he's angry, and he's moody. So this is what we see in all children, and sometimes it gets onto our nerves also as parents. But why does this happen? This could sometimes lead to depression. This could sometimes masking the symptoms of depression. So all these things we need to watch our child very, very carefully. The things or what are the things that may cause depression? Mostly it is as the child is growing up, so his social image, that causes his sexual image, his social status to his peers. Maybe he's not able to adjust to his expectations to his parents, that is the falling grades, and he's not able to do well in his career or in the school. So all these factors may lead to depression. Another important factor is the family. A family conflict, some problem in the family may also give rise to teenage depression. Loss of a loved one, a failure in a relationship. These are very, very important factors which we do not see when we deal with our children. These factors may seem very small, but they are a terribly huge factor for teenagers and they may give rise to depression. Now what are the symptoms? How do we know that a child is suffering from depression? This is actually very difficult to understand because the child has mood swings. His moods swing like a pendulum. So it is very difficult to actually pinpoint and to understand when the child is undergoing or going through a depression. The child may lose interest. He may lose interest in things that he used to enjoy before. He may start losing his concentration. He may not be able to make correct decisions. There may be a sense of hopelessness. There may be a sense of not adjusting well. He's withdrawn within himself. After coming from school, he may lock himself up into the bedroom. He may not communicate well with his friends or even with family members. Sometimes the kid may say of very vague symptoms like headache, abdominal pain, or apathy, or feeling of not wanting to eat something. So these are very vague symptoms he may say to his parents. There is sometimes a change in his thinking and behavior. So if you see these things, then you should try to understand the child better. There may be change in his eating habits. Sometimes he may not have any interest in his food, even the food which he used to love, he may stop eating them. But there are children, there are teens who are going through depression, and they eat voraciously, so much so that they put on weight. So these are very vague symptoms which you need to follow, and there may be a sense of depression which is being masked under these symptoms. So what do we do? So as parents, if we see all these symptoms, a sense of unhappiness, a sense of feeling worthlessness, hopelessness, not taking interest in the surrounding, not communicating with people, if this continues for a long time, continuously for about 2 weeks, then it is time for you to seek some professional help or some medical help. This is not to say that the child is definitely suffering from depression, no, but it is better to take some medical help, because the child may need so, or maybe there is a difference in understanding between the parents and the child. So that is why a medical or a professional help is needed. Now, is there a family history or not? Many people ask that. There is no such family history, but it is seen that those families who have a history of depression in the family, their children are more likely to suffer from childhood depression or teenage depression. Now, when we go to a doctor, a medical help is definitely needed. There are no tests, like no blood test, nothing to say that this child is suffering from depression. It is only a good communication between the medical personnel and the child and his parents and friends. So the doctor, he has a battery of tests. He has some assessment parameters through which he understands if the child is suffering from depression or not. So there will be a series of interviews with the medical help, or the medical professional will undertake with you and the child, with which he will try to understand the problem. And after these interviews, they may take a long time, then he will come to a conclusion that whether the child is suffering from depression or not. He will also be able to understand it. Is it a depression, or is it some other psychological disease or illness that he is suffering from? Not only this, there he will also be able to say the severity of the depression. Mind you, depression is curable, but it has a different side also. That is a tendency to suicide. Childhood suicide, teenage suicides are rising. So a severity of depression should be assessed so that we can know if this child is susceptible to suicide. In India, we do not have the data, but in USA, if you see, every year 5 lakh teenagers are contemplating or trying suicide. And out of this 5 lakh teenagers, 5,000 are able to complete suicide successfully. If we talk of the difference between males and females, the females, they attempt suicides more. Self-mutilation is more in female teens. But when we think of a successfully attempted suicide, then it is the males. The males, they complete suicide more. But whatever the factors are, whatever the rates are, these are the things which need to be seen or understood and treated right in the beginning. So how do we treat depression? There are 2 ways. One is a psychotherapy and other is the psychomedicines. So psychomedicine is a different aspect, so we are not going to discuss of the psychomedicine, but yes, the psychological therapy is very, very important, and it starts at home. Of course, your medical personnel will be able to tell you much better and much in depth, but we as parents, we are responsible about the physical and the mental well-being of our childhood, because depression starts at home. It starts with the environment around the child. So as a parent, what do? The first and the foremost is communication. All lines of communication with the child should never be closed. The child should understand that the parent are my first people whom I can fall back on. They should have the trust on the parents. As parents, we should not force any ideas on our children. Let them grow on their own. Let them make mistakes. Do not make them feel bad. Do not make them feel ashamed when they make a mistake. Give them a positive reinforcement. With the mistakes, they learn from the mistakes, and from the mistakes, they'll come out as a more confident person. So by stopping the children to make mistakes, you are breaking their self-confidence. third and most important is that we should stop reliving our life in our children. We should stop seeing to fulfill our unfulfilled dreams in our children. They have a different set of desires, they have a different set of dreams, and we had ours, some of which are unfulfilled probably. But let them fulfill their own dreams. We should not force our dreams, our wishes on them. The full-fledged support should be there with the children. Let them grow and let them communicate with the parents always in whatever front. All parents, we do agree, all of us parents, we do want and we know we are doing all these things. But most importantly, the child should understand that we have this much trust in our children. And how do we do that? Is by communicating, by showing, by expressing. We Indians, we do not express our love in words or in action. We need to do that. We need to tell our child in very clear words, in actions, that we love our children, we trust them, and we are always behind them whatever happens, and they will always be loved. And whatever they do, we are always going to be proud about them.